Do you know what's going on in the UK? Sold Not For Sale, Coach Colin here. Let me show you a little something from the Prime Minister.
Over 400 people now have been arrested, 100 have been charged, some in relation to online activity, and a number of them are already in court. And I'm now expecting substantive sentencing before the end of this week. That should send a very powerful message to anybody involved, either directly or online, that you are likely to be dealt with within a week, and that nobody should be involving themselves in this disorder. Over 400 people now have been arrested.
Now, the disorder that he's talking about is people commenting on Facebook posts, making Facebook posts, retweeting things, commenting on tweets, things of that nature. Things like that will get you put in jail currently in the UK. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that after Joe Rogan speaks. Now, what's happening in the UK is there have been these riots breaking out. And of course, if there's riots going on in the streets and people are scared, they go online and they talk about it. And the UK says, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And if what you're saying could possibly incite hatefulness towards a group, or could be construed that way, or if you retweet something, and get prepared to see the most Orwellian stuff that you have seen in a very long time. And that's a hard thing to do, but you're about to see it right now. Let's start off with Joe Rogan. Then I'm going to show you everything from what the government's saying to people getting arrested. It is absolutely wild. Let's get into it.
Just terrible government overreach. You're seeing it now in England where people are getting arrested for tweets.
Yeah.
Well, England, people talk about Soviet Russia, like how bad Russia is in terms of cracking down on thought police and cracking down on bad tweets and things like that. I think the statistics are, I think England I think there's something like 4,000 people have been arrested in England for thought crimes where they've said things online that people find to be a hateful thing or a problematic thing. And I think it's only 200 in Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe in Russia they're too scared to do it at all.
Could be. Yeah. But the fact that they're comfortable with finding people who've said something that they disagree with and putting in England in 2024 is really wild.
Yeah.
Especially they're saying you can get arrested just for retweeting something.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
And here's the problem with that. Even if you say, yeah, well, people shouldn't tweet hateful things. I agree. They shouldn't. But who's to decide what is a hateful thing?
That's the problem. That's
the problem. It's very subjective.
And it still shouldn't be a crime.
And in our lifetime, we've seen that get moved, right? So it used to be if a guy thought he was a woman and his name was Doug, and you grew up with Doug, and all of a sudden Doug wants to be called Debbie, if you call him Doug, it's no big deal. Like, yeah, maybe you're being rude to call him Doug, but it's not a hate crime,
right.
Okay? Well, now a lot of people think it's a hate crime, and that got you banned from Twitter for life. So if you dead named someone on the old Twitter, you were banned for life. Dead name, not even making up a name. You can call them an idiot. You can call someone an idiot. Okay, forget about a man and address. Maybe that's a problem. But if you call like a regular, fine, no problem. But if you call Doug, you will get banned for life. Okay, that's the new hate speech. That's crazy. Now, if that keeps going, that didn't exist before. If that keeps going, maybe you can go to jail for calling him Doug. Maybe they think it's okay to put you in jail because you violated their hate speech laws.
Yep, that is what's going on. Canada is leaning towards that very slowly. The UK is in full swing. Australia is experiencing this as well. And I always think back to the World Economic Forum and this woman talking about hate speech laws and touching a United States senator and saying, don't worry, you'll have these laws where you are soon. And he was like, I don't know about that. Let's get into this next clip. Someone getting arrested. Listen to how this goes.
The time's 20 to 3, 14:40. I'm arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network. Under
What?
127 of the Communications Act, okay? So you do not have to say anything that may harm your defence if you don't mention one question, something which you later are in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being
You're
arrested?
going to be arrested, okay?
Right,
Take
and-
you back to the police station.
Right.
Ask you, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pockets, Thomas?
I've got my keys. I've got my keys. No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of Beating and Criminal Act.
Right.
That's for dangerous items.
You said I was going to be arrested under some what information? I'm going to be
We've had
arrested for
reports that
posting on
you've made
Facebook.
some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's
And can you tell me what this comment was?
We'll do
Okay,
that
well,
all
we'll
in
do
an
that when
interview.
we interview.
All right. And so,
Okay.
what am I going to be locked up for the night, or?
Hopefully
Well,
not.
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Won't explain what he said to him until they put him in cuffs and bring him to the station. This is wild stuff that's going on over there. I'm going to show you another thing here. This is someone actually being sentenced. So we went from the arrest to now someone's being sentenced. It's not the same person, but this gentleman is receiving 20 months. But let's let the clip explain.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting, intending thereby to stir up racial hatred. The context of your offending is that it arises out of the civil unrest and disorder in many parts of the United Kingdom. On the night of the 2nd and 3rd of August, the Britannia Hotel in Leeds was attacked by people who threw missiles which damaged windows. The police were called, and on the 3rd of August the hotel was locked down for the protection of those who were living there. At the time there were 210 occupants, many of whom were foreign refugees and asylum seekers. Similar attacks to the hotel were launched on the 4th of August. The police attended on each occasion, and units were deployed to safeguard the hotel and to provide an increase in the police presence in the area. In between the two attacks, you took to social media in order to encourage others towards participation in the attacks upon the hotel. As is recognised on your behalf, this offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment. You will serve up to 1/2 of your sentence in custody before you are released on licence. If you fail to abide by the conditions of your licence, you can be returned to prison to serve some or all of the remainder of the custodial term. The victim surcharge will apply, and I will make a collection order.
Reduced. I didn't catch that. Reduced. That was a reduced sentence by 1/3. So it was going to be 30 months, 2.5 years in jail. Probably would have to serve half It'd be a year and a bit, 15 months, and then be let out to licensing. I don't know what that is in their country. I guess maybe it's like a halfway situation, house arrest situation. I don't know. Very, very wild. Let me just read a little bit of this here. 30 months. Let me see if I can just find out a little bit more of the case. No. They just say man jailed for social media posts during far-right riots. And these far-right riots are people who are standing up. Basically, there's people who are protesting. From my understanding, there are people who are protesting open borders. And the border's not open, but it's kind of the same situation. You understand, right? It's a little too porous. People are standing up against that. The immigrants who have come over there are standing up to the citizens, saying, if you don't like it, too bad, kind of thing. And the police are protecting the people who immigrated over through the porous border and arresting the citizens for Facebook posts and things of that nature. They're calling them far-right riots. I don't know. I don't really, if it's anything like, we see over here, you're branding something as far-right, it's usually just patriotic. But anyway, let's just play this.
Consequences will be visited upon them. So, you've got children being stabbed to death. But what they're worried about, they have a dedicated police officer scouring social media to find mean comments about immigrants. Now, aside from the accent and the language, it's a clip that might as well be from North Korea. Instead of having teams of police officers deporting some of the illegal aliens who are living in Britain, which would actually accomplish something productive, the British government is spending its time scouring Twitter looking for retweets they don't like. And apparently, even if you write like RTs are not endorsements in your bio, you're not going to be spared. If you retweet something that Keir Starmer thinks is naughty, you'll go to prison. The consequences will be visited upon you. Now, of course, Stephen Parkinson left the standard vague on purpose so that no one knows where the line is exactly. Take this quote from the New York Times, for example. More British Muslim men have joined ISIS and the Nusra Front than are serving in the British Armed Forces. We mentioned that yesterday on the show. But would a statement like that qualify as inciting racial hatred? It happens to be a factually true statement, as unbelievable and incredible as it may seem, that there are more British Muslims that are interested in joining terrorist groups than fighting for the British Armed Forces. But are you allowed to at least point that out? What if you point it out and don't even comment on it? What if you offer no commentary? You just say, here's a thing that's happening. Well, that might be against the law now because it may lead people to conclude that Britain's immigration policy isn't the best.
Whew. Wow. You know what it reminds me of as I hear all this? Tucker Carlson had Elon Musk throws up his support there, support freedom of speech in the UK. Tucker Carlson had a interview and the person talking was like, you think that this is all happening by chance? You think all these countries are having these bad ideas, the same bad idea, just in unison, just by mistake? It's really something to think about. This gentleman here, man jailed in UK for commenting on Facebook posts about riots. 31-year-old Billy Thompson was sent to prison for 12 weeks after he replied filthy B words on a post about the police issuing a dispersal order to try and prevent protests from becoming violent. So he's just doing what people do. He's just commenting on something, Facebook, just airing his grievances out, It was also included an emoji of an ethnic minority and a gun. Okay, so now it got to the threatening part. That little green pew pew. You can't be doing the little green pew pew with a smiley face that's a different color than you are. What happens if you just use the? I'm not even gonna get into it. His lawyer said Billy had made the comment as part of an online Facebook conversation with a family member. Hold on, was this a post? Okay, yeah, he commented on a post. I'm like, are they in your messages? That won't be far away, honestly. The judge found him guilty of encouraging violence and imposed the sentence to discourage the kind of violent behavior that such messages encourage. The judge temporarily, it may be right that the starting point sentence is a community order for this offense, but I am afraid this has to be viewed within the context of the current, that's what Kamala always says, within the context of the current civil unrest up and down the country. And there is the gentleman right there, completely shocked, I am sure. Let's move on. This is, what do they call them? The head of the Met Police, Mark Rowley, warns even people abroad will be arrested for mean posts. Okay.
So we'll throw the full force of the law at offenders, whether that's charging people with assaults, violent disorder, riot, and if terrorism offences are appropriate, I know the Director of Public Prosecutions has said he's prepared to consider that. We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard and maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we'll come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Wow. Shocking how into it they all are. They really feel like they're doing the right thing. And that's the thing about some people in this whole situation. Some of them feel like they're doing the right thing, because who wants to be standing by while people are inciting violence and racial stirring or whatever, you know? Whatever they keep saying. It's such weird Orwellian talk. Like, have you ever read the book? Like, have you ever read the book where the guy is alternating? He's changing speech. He's like, not just think, we're gonna have double think and unthink, and then we get rid of the rest of the words. It sounds like they're on that path, you know? Maybe it's just making me feel Orwellian just because of their accents. I don't know. Here's the Prime Minister just one more time. We'll end it off with this.
Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
Wow. Thank you for that, Sky News. Jeez, I think they're in Australia. I think they have a UK division as well. What happens to the news organizations that are over there that just happen to report on all of this? What if they talk about the people who are in the crowds? What if what ends up happening? This is very, very worrisome. And I'm very glad I'm not there, although I do have a lot of family over there. A whole bunch of family over there. In fact, I feel for those people, but, you know, when I cover topics like this, you know, of course, Joe Rogan talked about it. So, you know, I cover it when Joe talks about things, but also it's always just to show where things can go, you know, for anybody, you know, this is where things could go. Possibly. You know, I'm not one of those people that says the whole system needs to come down. I think that's wild. I have a kid and I'm going to have kids. and I have a wife that I love, and I have family that when you suggest that the whole system's a problem, you're suggesting more destruction than is coming off the tip of your tongue. You don't actually realize. I just want to see people take the right step, or take a step in the right direction, you know? And everybody knows who I'm backing for president, but just steps in the right direction. That's what I want to see. And I know for some people it's like, no. Well, I'm not ready for the other option. I like things to be peaceful, but that's where it can go. I'll just leave it there. It's just very sad. I'll keep you guys updated on it. Anyways, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Other than that, I'm out.